check, check, check.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. These kids are like, it's 9:30 in the morning. I was speaking to them over there, and they were just like, yeah, right? Like,
Ladies and gentlemen, the National Civil Rights Museum is proud to present the 27th Freedom Award Student Forum pre-show 450 Mulberry. Put your hands together for our hosts.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to 450 Mulberry, the 2018 Student Forum pre-show. My name is Kyra Henderson.
and my name is Caitlin, and let's not forget our DJ for the morning, DJ Thriller.
Now, Caitlin, I don't know about you, but this is my first student forum.
Me too. The museum has been hosting the Freedom Award since it opened in 1991. Can you imagine being the first museum in the country dedicated to telling the civil rights movement story, and then also getting the chance to recognize people for their national and international contributions to social justice and human rights? Past honorees include Nelson Mandela, Rosa Parks, Oprah, Ruby Bridges, and even Stevie Wonder.
And both Mrs. Coretta Scott King and her daughter, Reverend Bernice King, have also received the Freedom Award.
All right, y'all, a few housekeeping rules before we get started. Please use your cell phones, so tweet, Snapchat, Instagram us at NCR Museum with the hashtag NCRM Student Forum and hashtag 2018 Student Forum. We want you to have fun, but please stay in your seats and please listen to the volunteers.
And this year we have a great team of student reporters from SCS Visual Arts with us to share the underground coverage as we prepare for the forum. Let's check in with Chloe and the team in the lobby.
Good morning and welcome to the 2018 Student Forum. I'm Chloe Bolton, your student reporter, reporting live in the lobby. I'm seeing Overton High, I see Briarcrest, I see St. Mary's all in the building at the moment. The energy is hype, we're all excited to be here. Now back to you guys in the sanctuary.
All right, thank you so much, Chloe. So it's so many kids here today, right? We're happy to have you all here. You all are gonna make this possible for us to get this forum going this morning. How are you feeling, Caitlin?
I'm feeling great. I'm so excited to see all these faces here, so excited to have everyone with us, so excited to see our honorees later.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we're happy to say is that you all continue to fight for justice, freedom, and equality. So you all continue working towards those efforts. Now, we also have a team hanging out in the green room. Let's check in with Kalia and Madison.
Well, let's just hang out with us for just a few more minutes.
It's cool. They'll be here in just a second. But we just want to let you all know, one of the things that's most important about the Student Forum is your efforts that you continue to do every single day. Just getting up and going to school proves that you all are going to continue.
I'm Madison Neal.
And I'm Kalia Mays, and we're your SCS student reporters from the Green Room.
Today from the Green Room, we have Ms. Barbara Hyde. She's a part of the Hyde Foundation and here with her husband, Pitt Hyde. Now, Ms. Barbara, how does it feel to be a part of this journey with your husband as he's being honored as someone great?
Well, of course, I'm super proud of him, and I've seen him over the years spend so much time working so hard for the cause of education and civil rights, so I'm proud and honored.
Also, how does it feel to be once supporting this event, but now being honored for your great accomplishments?
Well, he's the one being honored, but I mean, it feels wonderful. It's really one of the great honors. Pitt has had many awards in life. He's been lucky that way. But this one means the most to him because he's invested so much in the Civil Rights Museum. And so for him to turn around and have an opportunity to be honored has been a
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Live from the green room, you had it from Ms. Barbara Hyde.
Thanks so much, Kalia and Madison. Well, I think what Kyra was getting at is that one thing that's so important about the Freedom Award and the Student Forum is that you guys get involved, you get involved in your communities, keep the fight for social justice moving forward. What do you think, Kyra?
I think that's really important, Caitlin, because the fight for social justice, human rights, equal rights for everyone, it's important to remember, even as young people, if one of us does not have our freedom, none of us are free, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's important for us to get involved in our schools, our communities, that sort of thing. You know, and I think once we turn 18, right, it's time to register to vote. What do you think, Kyra?
I think that's awesome. Like, being able to register to vote is one thing, but when you get to exercise that right, it's a right that so many people fought hard for. And so, ladies and gentlemen, 18 years old, please make sure you go and register to vote, all right? Register to vote is so important. So many people have helped in that effort to having the right to vote.
Absolutely. And here in the sanctuary at Mississippi Boulevard, we have Charity and Tiffany hanging out with us. How's it going, ladies?
Thank you so much, guys. Now we're going to check back in with you all a little bit later.
Well, I don't know about everybody here, but I'm excited to be here. Play something for us, DJ. Thanks so much, DJ Thriller. This year was a big year for the museum with the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's assassination at the Lorraine Motel. But 1968 was a year of change throughout the world. Our Freedom Award theme this year continues to reflect on that crucial year 1968, but also how we can move forward. Every year, the museum honors a group of students who are moving things forward in the fight for social justice, our Keeper of the Dream winners. And I believe some of them are in the green room now.
We are back reporting to you live. I'm Kalia.
And I'm Madison.
And we are here with Cindy, one of the KOD recipients. So Cindy, how does it feel to put a positive impact on the Memphis community? And not just the Memphis community, but everywhere.
I feel honored to be able to use the opportunities available to me to make a difference. It's a truly meaningful experience to be able to do something to help others in my community.
Well, you heard it, guys, from Cindy. She feels honored. Now back to you.
Thanks so much.
All right, well, so happy again to have each and every last one of you here. I want to see what schools we have in the building. I think I saw a few as you all were coming in. I see Rivercrest Elementary. Rivercrest Elementary. I have Westwood High School over
I know
here.
Treadwell's over here. Hillcrest
So
is here.
obviously they're feeling
St.
really good
Michael's
being
is
here today. Let's see who else I have in the building. Georgia
Treadwell
Hills.
is here.
So happy to have you
Memphis
all
Academy
here.
of Health
Then we
Sciences
have
is here.
Benjamin L. Hooks Job Corps Center. How are y'all feeling? So we have a
Granville
lot
T.
of-
Woods is here, Kyra.
And then we have,
Austin
oh
is
my
here.
gosh, I love your signs. Those are really cute. Fairleigh High School. How are you all feeling today? Feeling good?
Craigmont Middle is here.
All
All
right.
right,
Let's
who do I
see
miss?
who
I know
else we have.
Overton's here. Hillcrest is here. Oh, Benjamin L. Hooks Job Corps is here.
Let's see who else we have in the building. And of course, Cornerstone Preparatory School. How are y'all feeling? Make some noise for me, Cornerstone Preparatory School. Happy to have you all here. And we also have Douglas. Douglas is here. Where's Douglas? Douglas.
Middle
all
College,
right.
is that you back there? Overton is still here. St. Mary's is here.
St. Mary's is here. So happy to have you all. We have more and more people coming in. Appling Middle School, how are you all feeling? So happy to have y'all here too. And then we have Stream Academy. How are you all feeling? Y'all are happy to be here too? We're happy to have
The
you all.
Memphis School of Excellence is here.
All right, again, so happy to have all of our schools here. All of you
All right,
help make this
Craigmont.
possible. All of you all help make this possible. All right, so let's check back with SCS. SCS, what's happening on your end?
Yes, right now we're in the sanctuary. And speaking of schools, we have Southwind Choir here, and I know they're going to put on a great show.
Most definitely. Now we're here with Miss Willis Jones, a Keeper of the Dream Award recipient. Tell us, Miss Willis, how do you feel to be the parent of a student who has made such a great impact on the community?
I am extremely proud of my son and his accomplishments. I'm extremely proud of all the recipients coming up as pillars in the community. We know Memphis is going to be in great hands because these students are proven that they are doing everything possible to ensure the future, and with great students like you and them, we're in great hands.
Thank you so much, Miss Willis.
Well, there you have it, and let's get back with the show. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, SCS. Now, y'all, we have a great video for you. This video was created by a Brooklyn, New York-based organization called Flowcabulary. Flowcabulary's hip-hop videos engage K-12 students in rigorous academic content by making it relevant and fun. With the goal of increasing achievement by bringing joy to every classroom, Flowcabulary serves teachers and students in more than 20,000 schools.
'30s Georgia, the heart of the South. A young boy learns what the world's about. He can't play in parks, those are for whites only. He can't go to many restaurants to see the new movie. That's segregation, it's the law, and that means different schools and areas for whites and blacks. And he has a white friend who on one day says, sorry, but my dad won't let us play. Anger begins to boil under Martin's skin. He feels his dignity crushed by the world that he's living in. But he's not giving in, he's studying, debating, follows his dad's choice of an occupation. Becomes a minister, a leader in the church. And the young Reverend King, he gets to work in Montgomery, Alabama, where Rosa Parks is the spark that ignites the fight for civil rights. She refuses to move to the back of the bus, even though the law says that black people must. She's arrested. This is the act that King needs to stand up and fight for equality. He needs a bus boycott in Montgomery. Black folks refuse to ride and it hurts the economy. See, people might ignore your speeches and songs, but they tend to pay attention when their money is gone. The boycott lasts over a year, making news, and King becomes a leader in the civil rights movement. Civil rights are rights that every person should have, but those rights have been denied to blacks, and that's what Dr. King says.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream, that all men are created equal.
King was a leader, so he offered guidance and preached the practice of nonviolence with boycotts, marches, and sit-ins, peacefully protesting to get people to listen. The opposition wasn't peaceful in the least when the local police came with dogs on a leash and they opened up the fire hose on those in the streets. Americans watched the horror play out on TVs. King remembered what Jesus taught, that the remedy for hate is not hate, but love for your enemy. So he kept on, and in 1963, led the march in Washington, D.C. There he gave his most famous speech, where he told the world, I have a dream of a nation where his children wouldn't be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. This plea resonated in America, and new laws helped break down some barriers then. In 1968, a white man with hatred in his heart and a gun in his hand shot and killed Dr. Martin Luther King. The nation mourned and wondered what the future would bring. The future is now. If King were there with you, would you tell him his dream came true? Because Dr. King says,
I have a dream. My 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Dr. King says,
I have a dream that one day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with this faith. We will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, my country tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. When all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Wow, awesome video by Flocabulary. Special thanks to Flocabulary for that great video on Dr. King. Let's check back in with Chloe.
Thanks, Kyra. Now I'm back with Phyllis Miles, a volunteer from International Papers. So Phyllis, can you tell me how long you've been volunteering?
This is my 4th year volunteering with the National Civil Rights Museum.
All right, can you tell me your experience with working with the Student Forum and what's your favorite part about it?
I love working with the Student Forum. My favorite part is seeing these young people get excited and fired up and loud and cheering and excited about doing the right thing and about something that's good, and hopefully it can be incorporated into their lives and they can see themselves in their future.
You heard it, folks. Now back to you in the sanctuary.
All right, now earlier this year, ladies and gentlemen, we lost a great icon of music, the Queen of Soul, Miss Aretha Franklin, who was born right here in Memphis. One of her songs has special meaning for Memphis because it was first recorded at Stax Records.
Now, Kyra, I, for one, being from Memphis, am proud that Aretha is from here as well, but I heard that maybe SCS kids don't know much about Aretha. What do y'all think?
Y'all know much about Miss Aretha? I think they know a little something, Caitlin.
You think you know enough to show us what you've got? Yeah. I think because she's from here and so are we, and we do have her family with us today, we should show what we know about Miss Aretha. What do y'all think? Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. DJ Thriller is gonna play the song. If you know the words, sing along. We have these 2 microphones, and if we come to you, we want you to do your best impression of the Queen of Soul. Y'all can handle that? You ready? I'm coming right down front. Y'all better be ready.
All right, now join in, but you've got to remain in your seats. Don't forget to post using our hashtag NCRM Student Forum, all right?
All right, y'all ready?
All right. All right, let's see what we get to be. All right. What you need, you know. There you go. Who else think they can do it, Miss Aretha? Let's see. All right. Y'all can sing Miss Aretha? Let's see. Who can I get? Oh, I think I got somebody over here. Come on, y'all. All right. Let's see, who else can I get to do a really good Aretha? Let's see. Oh, yeah. You're getting called out. Yes, ma'am. Who else can sing by Miss Aretha? All right. Let's see who I have over here that can sing by Miss Aretha. Oh, don't come back. Come on, make me want to come there. Yes. There you go. All right. Just a little bit. That was good. Y'all ready? Let's like to get some. Now don't ask. Let's see who I got. Yes, ma'am. Here, go ahead and get that mic. There you go. All right. All right. Let's see. And I wanna be free.
All right. I think we could probably do better than that if we tried it again.
Yeah, we should try it again because we can do much better than that, right, Caitlin?
Yeah, what'd you think, DJ Thriller? Think we could do better? It's our family, right? Okay. Well, right, y'all. Well, we did do some. That was all right, but let's try it again.
Yeah, that was all right, but I definitely think we can do better, ladies and gentlemen. I know you all are singing now. You definitely are singing on your phones, on Snapchat, Facebook, and all that, so I know that you can sing, all right?
And I know we should stay in your seats, but let's get on our feet for just a minute.
There we go. Now I know I have some Aretha Franklin fans in the building. All right, let's see. Now if I see you singing, don't get shy if I come to you. All right. All right. Let's see. Do I have any Aretha Franklin fans over here? Any Aretha Franklin fans over here? I know I got a couple of Aretha fans over here. All right. Let's see. You gonna give me your best Aretha fan? Oh, you can go ahead. Go ahead and give a little Aretha. Woo! Here's one. You gonna do that Aretha for me? All right. Yeah, y'all jamming over here. Can you give me your best Aretha? Let's see who else I can get to my See y'all dancing over here. I know y'all can give me y'all best Aretha. One of y'all can give me y'all best Aretha.
All right, y'all, that was a lot better. It's
That was
been
a lot
fun
better.
hanging out with y'all this morning.
Yes, that was a lot better. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Aretha would be proud. Now, well, you know what, Caitlin? That
What is
pretty
it,
much
Kyra?
wraps up our pre-show. Wow.
Well-
Thank you all so much for having us. And special thanks to International Paper.
And it was great hanging out with y'all. And y'all, we're gonna leave you with a special message from Shelby County School Superintendent Dorsey Hobson. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Good morning,
Thank
young
you all
people.
so much.
I'm Dorsey Hobson, Superintendent of the Shelby County Schools. On behalf of myself and the Shelby County Board of Education, I want to take this opportunity to welcome you all to the Freedom Award Student Forum. You all represent the best and brightest of what our city has to offer. We are so proud of you all for being here today. I want to encourage you all to put forth your best efforts and put your thinking caps on and make today productive. Thank you guys so much for being here and continue to make us proud.
I must thank you for this great honor.
I guess this takes bling into a whole new level.
Tonight,
You've made me feel like the cuts and bruises and scars of the communities that I stand for, the communities that I represent, are being honored, and for that, I'm extremely grateful.
It's a reminder that the work isn't done, that the reporting isn't done, that the digging for stories and different voices isn't done.
The National Civil Rights Museum every day helps to make America a more perfect union.
I thank you so much for this award.
Thank you for this award.
Thank you.
There comes a time that one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politically correct, nor popular, but one must take a position because his conscience tells him it's the right thing to do.
Good morning. The National Civil Rights Museum is proud to present the 27th Freedom Award Student Forum. Please welcome this year's Freedom Award honorees, J.R. Pitt Hyde, and Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. Freedom Award host, Michaela Angela Davis. And the president of the National Civil Rights Museum, Terry Lee Freeman. And now our host, Jerica Phillips and Cleveland Yates.
Pretty tall. Well, it's chilly outside, but we are here to welcome you to the 2018 Student Forum presented by the National Civil Rights Museum, an international paper. I'm excited to be here with my co-host, the 2016 Keeper of the Dream recipient and star of Kids Do Positive Things, Mr. Cleveland Yates. Good morning.
Thank you so much, Jerica. It's great to be back at the Student Forum.
Well, we are so proud of you. I mean, he is who I want to be when I grow up. He has his own show online. Tell us more about that show.
Well, none of it could have happened without my wonderful parents, so hey, Mom. But yeah, it started when I was 13, when I started high school, Cleveland and the community. And it's just to encourage kids just to get in the community and get involved. It's not hard, so.
Well, that is wonderful. Congratulations again, Cleveland. Let's keep the show going. We will now have a welcome and invocation by Reverend J. Lawrence Turner. He's the senior pastor here at Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church.
Good morning. Let me pause briefly to establish some protocol to President Freeman, to our honorees, to the elected officials who are present as well, to the sponsors who made this possible, and to all of you. You are welcome in this place, and it is our honor, our privilege to have the National Civil Rights Museum Student Forum right back here at Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church. There's an exciting morning that is planned, and so I don't want to delay it getting underway. So would you join with me in bowing your heads and join me in a word of prayer? Eternal and gracious God, for the beauty and splendor of this occasion, for the efforts, sacrifice, and commitment of our honorees, for the legacy and the vision of the National Civil Rights Museum and its leadership, and for every student gathered in this place, we give you thanks and praise. As we take a moment to pause, to reflect on the lives of those who inspire us by their efforts, we pray that we would reevaluate our commitment to the ongoing struggle for freedom, justice, and equity in this nation and around the world. And help us all, when we leave this place, to recommit ourselves to the work of doing justice, loving mercy, and walking humbly with you. And we ask this in the name that is above every name, And all of God's people said, amen.
And amen. Thank you, Pastor Turner. We also thank the Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church for hosting this year's forum. We will now hear a selection from a wonderful choir here in the Memphis area, the Southwind High School Choir. Let's give it up for them. Followed by remarks from Terry Lee Freeman, the president of the National Civil Rights Museum.
Good morning. We are the Southwind High School concert singers. Our first selection will be Daniel, Servant of the Lord. The soloist will be tenor 11th grader Monterio Johnson. And the bass solo will be 11th grader Leon Franklin.
King cried, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, oh, that a Hebrew daddy, servant of the Lord. The king cried, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, oh, that a Hebrew daddy, servant of the Lord. Daddy, oh, 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 Lord.
Among the Hebrew nations, one Hebrew Daniel was found. They put him in a lion's den.
He stayed there all night long. Oh, the king cried, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, that a Hebrew daddy, servant of the Lord.
Now the king in his sleep was troubled. And early in the morning he rose to find God has sent his angel
to lock the lion's jaws. Oh, the king cried, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, the Hebrew daddy, servant of the Lord. Oh, the king cried, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, Daddy, oh, that Hebrew daddy, servant of the Lord, that servant of the Lord, that servant of the Lord.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? Good, good. Well, welcome to the 2018 Student Forum. This year, our theme is 1968. Now, I know for all of the students in here and many of the teachers, 1968 might as well be 1868. But that's exactly why we've chosen it for our theme. 1968 was one of the most critical years of the 20th century. Our nation was in the middle of a very unpopular war. Does anybody know what war that was? What is it? Vietnam. At that time, young men still had to sign up for the draft. The draft allowed the government to select your name for military service. More than 58,000 Americans died during Vietnam. African Americans, women, and other minorities were still fighting for equality. There were protests throughout the country in opposition to the war and in support of civil rights for all citizens. Protests by college students were commonplace. They were happening throughout the country. At Howard University in Washington, D.C., Columbia University in New York, and at South Carolina State in Orangeburg, South Carolina, 3 people were killed, 27 were injured, trying to integrate the only bowling alley in Orangeburg. In Los Angeles, California, 15,000 high school students walked out of class demanding better education. In 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. came to Memphis to support the striking sanitation workers who were simply seeking a living wage and benefits. We know that Dr. King was assassinated on April 4th, 1968. But 2 months later, June 6, 1968, Robert F. Kennedy, who was running for the Democratic nomination for president and brother of former President John F. Kennedy, was assassinated in a hotel in Los Angeles, California. 1968 was a very, very difficult year, but there were bright spots along the way. The first African-American mayor of a major U.S. city in Cleveland, Ohio, was elected, Carl Stokes. The first African-American woman was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives, Shirley Chisholm. And Arthur Ashe became the first African-American to win a Grand Slam tennis tournament. 1968 was a year of firsts, and it was a year that changed the lives of our honorees. The Honorable Joe Biden, 47th Vice President of the United States, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr., and J.R. Pitt Hyde. And you'll learn more about them in just a few minutes. Now, I want to thank our Student Forum sponsor, International Paper. They have been a fabulous partner over the years, and through the Keeper of the Dream Award, they are encouraging young people to follow in the footsteps of our Freedom Award honorees. I want to also acknowledge our Freedom Award sponsors who are here. Dave Bronzik from FedEx, Teresa Sloyan with the Hyde Family Foundation, Pamela Alexander from Ford Motor Company, and Brian Jordan with the First Tennessee Foundation. Please give them all a round of applause. Now, before I introduce Michaela Angela Davis, who is our host for the Freedom Award this evening, I want to ask a question. How many of you are first-time newly registered voters? Come on, make some noise. All right, all right, all right. Well, today is the first day of early voting, and we are here at an early voting site. I would not be doing my duty if I did not say to you that there is no more important thing that you can do than exercise your right to vote. It's not enough just to register, but we have to actually get out there and vote. So at this point, let me introduce Michaela Angela Davis.
Good morning, community. I just want to apologize to the people that were sitting behind me because I'm still wearing my hair like 1968. But I see the fro has had a comeback. And this is my favorite part of this amazing event because for the young people, you are not just all we have, you are the best we have. And it sets the tone for what we will do tonight and what we will do tomorrow. And you all know what this struggle is. You all have been watching TV and you all have been doing it. I'm so inspired by this generation, from Parkland to Dream Defenders. You all know who you are. And I just want to see you all talk. I love this talk show. You know I talk for a living. I pop up on television every now and then. But this talk show is my favorite of the year. So I can't wait to hear the interviews. And just a quick shout out to Cleveland Shoes. Because you are not only smart and accomplished and focused, but you're very well dressed, young man. And that's how we do it, right? We look good. I see class of 2019. And I just want to, all right, I just want to reiterate you all, this election, it's not a game. It may not be as fun as electing the first African-American president, but it may even be more important because this is going to show who we are as a community, as a beloved, connected community. Can I get an amen on that one? Amen. All right, y'all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Michaela. Today, let me just mention one thing. We are using social media, and we hope you're using it today, actually. And we pride ourselves on the number of followers and friends that we have. And sometimes when we're on social media, we feel emboldened to say whatever we want to say, good or bad, to people we know, people we don't know. But we aren't always so comfortable getting close to people or letting people get to know who we really are. Well, the National Civil Rights Museum has teamed up with Bridges and Facing History and ourselves, and we have produced a film to remind people that it's okay to open up and spark a connection. So we'd like you to take a look.
What a powerful message. Now, let's welcome Bathsheba Sams from International Paper.
Good morning. As Vice President of Human Resources for International Paper's Industrial Packaging Business and an Executive Board member for the National Civil Rights Museum, I'm delighted to be here with you today to introduce 9 incredible young students who are catalysts for positive change in our community. Whether you have attended before or this is your first time, the Student Forum and the Keeper of the Dream Awards give all of us an opportunity to replace the negative stories that we are constantly hearing with stories of hope and change. This is a time for us to celebrate everyday heroes who are making a positive difference in our community. One such everyday hero who is triggering positive headlines in the news is one of our 2017 Keeper of the Dream winners, Trinity Walker. Trinity was recognized last year for creating Note to Self Art Expression, a therapy workshop for teens to learn healthy ways to cope with mental illness. Just last week, Trinity was invited to meet Michelle Obama and to speak before the United Nations in New York about mental health. Isn't that amazing? And as was mentioned earlier, Cleveland was one of our recipients of the Keeper of the Dream Awards as well. So Cleveland, congratulations to you as well. Just like Trinity and all of the Keeper of the Dream Award winners that have come before them, all 9 of this year's winners have shown us how seeing a need and addressing it can make significant improvements in our communities. They too will one day be making positive headlines in the news. This year's winners show us that making a difference does not require wealth. Making a difference does not mean you have to be an adult. Making a difference is something that any one of us can do once we see the need and decide to take action in a positive way. We received nominations this year from schools and nonprofit community organizations in the greater Memphis area. It is always inspiring to read about the tremendous work that is being done by the youth in our city. And we're going to share those stories of our 9 winners in just a minute. But first, I want to thank the parents, the educators, and community leaders who have inspired and supported these students. I also want to thank all of the student nominees for your leadership and dedication to community service. You are positive role models that we can all learn from. And as we mark the 50 years since Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination here in Memphis, we celebrate the great things you are doing, great things that bring to life Dr. King's vision of serving others and giving back to the community. Today, we recognize that keeping Dr. King's dream alive isn't about your age, where you live, where you go to school, or where you work. It's about seeing a need and taking positive actions to improve our communities and to stand up for what is right. That's the beauty of the Keeper of the Dream Award. It reminds us that we are never too young to serve, to lead, or to be an inspiration to others. I am extremely proud to represent International Paper and our partnership with the National Civil Rights Museum that makes this day possible. I'd like to turn the program over to Jerick in Cleveland, who will announce this year's winners.
And you know, as a news anchor, I cover so many tough stories, and I see so much negative, and we report a lot of crime, but it is always my pleasure to cover the positive stories, the resilience of students, and it's just a beautiful thing to cover stories like Trinity and Cleveland. Thank you, Dr. Bathiba. Each year, the Student Forum recognizes outstanding young people, and they honor them with the Keeper of the Dream Award. Sarah Rosenthal is a 7th grader at Germantown Middle School who developed her own fundraising program called Sarah's Hope Projects at school. Sarah has sought to develop a better understanding of the world and has guided her to support both local and global charity initiatives. Here in Memphis, Sarah Hope's Projects has helped to fund local programs such as Ready Shelby, Temple Israel MIFA Fund, Memphis Family Shelter, and the Shelby County Volunteer Support Committee's campaign to purchase shoes and backpacks for needy schools. On a global level, Sarah has raised donations to purchase 17 desks for students in Malawi through the UNICEF Kind Fund. This year, Sarah is focused on raising funds to benefit the child advocacy centers, and her efforts have recently generated a significant donation to the MIFA 50th anniversary event. That's awesome. As the Keeper of the Dream, Sarah is an altruist and humanitarian.
Cindy Tan, a senior at White Station High School, has founded 2 programs, Rotary Interact Club and Girl Code. As an immigrant from China, Cindy understands how difficult it is to adjust to American culture. She founded Rotary Interact Club to encourage cultural awareness and diversity at White Station. The club hosts an event called World of Traditions, which brings students together to learn about cultures around the world. As a computer science and technology enthusiast, Cindy realized that many Memphis students lack access to programming classes, and there is a gender gap in computer science. In response to this need, Cindy founded Girl Code, an outreach program that teaches free workshops on how to create apps using basic computing skills. Her program has received funding from the prestigious National Center for Women and Information Technology Aspire IT program, and she is working to expand Girl Code to serve more students in our city. As Keeper of the Dream, Cindy is a proponent of diversity and inclusion.
Next up, we have Timmy Becton Jr., a senior. He's a senior at Frederick Douglass High School. They're representing today. He founded Grow Smart, a nonprofit organization that addresses the issue of food deserts in his community. Timmy developed the innovative idea to convert restaurant food waste into fertilizer for community gardens. Through Grow Smart, Timmy has mobilized over 20 community members in collecting food waste and building community gardens, bringing a sustainable and nutritious alternative to Memphis communities that do not have access to fresh produce at neighborhood grocery stores. Timmy's efforts won him the opportunity to participate in Light Memphis, or Let's Innovate Through Education, a 6-month-long curriculum designed to equip African American and Latinx students with entrepreneurial skills and build networks to create wealth. Forbes magazine, listen to this, has also selected Grow Smart as one of the 20 ideas that can change the world, and he was a finalist for the Obama Foundation Fellowship. As Keeper of the Dream, Timmy is a pioneering catalyst for positive social change.
Cameron Jones, a senior at Marion High School. He is an active community advocate. When he was younger, he addressed the issues of bus riders in the community by creating and selling affordable solar-powered cell phone chargers for use on the go. Since 2014, he began volunteering for political campaigns and encouraging people to vote. In fact, he always has voter registration cards on hand to give out. As the grandson of a person with HIV/AIDS, he has come to understand the importance and value of medical care in economically disadvantaged communities. For the past 3 years, he has interned at a medical clinic in a rural town and aspires to be an infectious disease specialist. As a member of the Health Occupations Students of America, Cameron won first place in the state of Arkansas for extemporaneous writing for his clinical research and writing. As Keeper of the Dream, he is a tireless community advocate.
Lakia Coakley, a freshman at Middle College High School. Aaliyah James, a junior at Overton High School. Elena Matad, an 8th grader at Bellevue Middle School. Anaya Mull, a senior at the Soulsville Charter School. And Caitlin Robinson, a senior at Hutchinson School. This group is all a recipient of the Keeper of a Dream Award this year. Together, they form Bridge Builders, Changes, Gender and Sexuality GAS cohort, and work to ensure LGBTQ youth in Memphis feel safe, supported, and empowered. The GAS cohort is dedicated to creating lasting, systemic change for this group of Memphis youth through regular community service. They are currently surveying a diverse group of local youth to develop a list of criteria that would help schools and businesses create safe and welcoming spaces for LGBTQ youth. They envision the creation of a publicly displayed designation that would let the LGBT community in Memphis know they are in a safe place. As Keepers of the Dream, Lakia, Aaliyah, Alina, Anaya, and Caitlin hold the Activist Award and dedicated to challenging the status quo. Let's give another round of applause for all of the Keeper of the Dream winners this year. Yeah, that's right. This is our future. They are truly amazing and embody the spirit of Dr. King.
Every year, the museum hosts the Drop the Mic Poetry Slam. We will now have a performance from one of this year's finalists, Janae Kelly, from White Station High School, with her poem, Time to Panic.
When the black and the whites of the police car cruises down the street, the basketball will stop bouncing. The jump rope will stop skipping, and the posture of every single black child will straighten, looking more like human cutouts than we ever did before, but they still make black kids play tag with bullets. Hide and go seek your very own body bag. They would immortalize me onto t-shirts. My death will come in red, white, and blue, lit by the candles of my memorial service. But it's only serving as a promotion for my hashtag. Justice will only be served once the body has rotted away. Only when all the maggots have torn the flesh from the bone will the cold case grow warm again. But when the ones it was meant for have all decayed away, who will be left to celebrate? That's the funny thing about black people, is that we never truly live until we die. I guess that's why we're so good at turning graveyards into celebrations, tuning into every radio station saying we would dance on our family's bones until they turn to pixie dust. Before the children lose the right to hope for childish things, before hands up, don't shoot. Show them the palms of your hands. Because maybe because your palms are white, it will remind the shooter that you are just like them. The only privilege of my black skin is knowing that there was always a gun pointed at me. Unknown of who aims it, but the bullet in the chamber is for me, and the trigger will be pulled, decorating my neighborhood with blood splatter graffiti. Just like the rest of my city, we will mourn. We will cry, we will dress in all black until there is no one to dress for. But who will step in and say it is enough? Say, America, do you see how you have integrated PTSD into a culture? How do you stomach this ulcer when you have killed all your black brothers and sisters? How do you plan to erase all the black ink from your white history books? How do you plan to take all the children's teddy bears off their light pole? How do you plan to rest? Well, now it's the time to panic.
Thank you so much, Janae. Every year, a highlight of the Student Forum is when we get to interact with our honorees. Well, it's time for Teen Talk. Let's welcome our moderators.
Good morning, I'm Jerry Biddle.
And I'm Christopher Wilson. Please welcome our 2018 Freedom Award honorees to the stage, Mr. J.R. Pitts Hyde and Reverend Jesse Jackson. Our first Freedom Award honoree is noted philanthropist J.R. Pitts Hyde.
J.R. Pitt Hyde is a triple threat, a family man, successful businessman, and philanthropist who has built an impressive legacy. A graduate of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, Hyde took over the family business, Malone and Hyde Grocery Stores, which became the third largest company in its industry, and he became the youngest CEO on the New York Stock Exchange for a decade. In 1979, he founded AutoZone, which quickly grew to be an industry leader as well. His business life aside, Pitt has also been instrumental in encouraging economic growth in Memphis, founding the entrepreneur-focused Memphis Tomorrow, and leading the effort to bring the Grizzlies NBA franchise to the city. Pitt led his grandfather's foundation before he and his wife Barbara co-founded their own. Together, they pioneered a new brand of philanthropy in Memphis that rewards innovation, accountability, and high-impact outcomes. The Hyde Family Foundation has worked tirelessly in Memphis to improve the lives of its citizens. It was through the lens of the civil rights movement that Pitt determined that quality education was the civil rights issue of our time, and in support of it, he utilized a unique brand of high-engagement entrepreneurial philanthropy. It was not enough to write a check. It called for personal involvement, to build bridges and coalitions working for quality education for every child, no matter where they live or who their parents are. To succeed required Memphis aiming high. Pitt set out to be part of a new chapter for K-12 education that would establish his city as ground zero for innovations and breakthroughs for quality education. The work has been saluted by the Gates Foundation, the Obama administration, and national philanthropies, and it continues. At the heart of all he does as a philanthropist is empowerment. It is about empowering children to have better options for their future. It is about empowering citizens to be change agents for a better Memphis. Dr. King said, life's most urgent question is, what are you doing for others? For 50 years, the life of Pitt Hyde has answered that question unequivocally. Pitt and his wife Barbara have 5 children, Margaret, Beau, Alexander, Susanna, and Claire. I'm Wendy Kopp, founder of Teach for America. We're proud to present the Freedom Award to Pitt Hyde, cultural philanthropist and champion of educational opportunity.
Mr. Hyde, you created a new way for people to engage with the community. You have invested a lot into Memphis. So, what are your future goals to enhance the value we all share here in Memphis?
First, I would say that, I'm a native Memphian, and I really believe in this city, and I think we have vast potential, and if we're all pulling together, we can accomplish great things together. And of course, Barbara and I, have focused for over 25 years on education reform because we believe so strongly that every child deserves a quality education. And I think that's, such a fundamental, not only in Memphis, but throughout our country, that particularly from children from poor circumstance, they're one bridge to escape those circumstances through education. And the beauty of education, it is the thing that empowers the individual to go forward and be able to solve their own problems. And if they get on a positive path to being a productive citizen, they will also help their family and their neighbors. And it's a way to start lifting up and empowering the individual. So we've been on that for 25 years. We still got a long way to go, but we're making great progress. Also, I think in our community, it's critical that we, again, build the economy so that we can reduce the inequality in our community and create more opportunities for all our citizens. And particularly as we do a better job of educating the youth in this town, we want to make sure they all have great opportunities right here in our city. So we work hard on that front as well as revitalizing neighborhoods through all different, working with CDCs and neighborhood development corporations to improve our city neighborhood by neighborhood. And then, of course, we try to address those things that indirectly and directly affect health, like trying to enhance our parks, like Shelby Farms Park, green lines and greenways, so active recreation becomes more of a part of everybody's life. So there are many, many amenities that we work on as well to enhance. It's really what we're trying to do is create an environment here in Memphis that will attract and hold the knowledge workers of the future, which are all represented in this audience today. And this takes many forms. Just like, as strangely as it sounds, we went after recruiting the NBA team. We have the Grizzlies here, not because necessarily I was a great basketball fan. In fact, originally, I had never even been to an NBA game before we got the team here. But I was convinced that it was something that would bring our community together, and it would give us something that we could all be proud of, and that it would also present a new face of Memphis to this country. And, the things that make for a great community and helps attract and hold young people take so many different forms, but it's something we all need to be involved in. And of course, I encourage all of you, particularly the youth in this room, that listen, it doesn't matter where you start or what you do, but as long as you're motivated to try to help our community and move it forward, every little piece of this puzzle is important. And I think we've got a great, great future as long as we all pull together.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a question from the audience for you.
Okay.
I am Jason Den, an 8th grader from Wooddale Middle School. How have you dealt with people who disagree with your ideas as you are fighting to make the lives of all children equal?
Yes, so the question was, how have you dealt with people who have disagreed with your ideas as you're fighting to make the lives of all children equal?
That's a great question. And I think that many times, many people see the problems in our community and other communities, and they try to get involved and they meet resistance. So they back away and say, well, if you don't want my help, then I'm not going to be involved. Whereas you should really see that as an opportunity to really make a difference, because there are entrenched interests, there are traditions that people follow. I mean, take like education reform. There was a lot of resistance every step of the way because, we've been doing it this way for a long, long time. But just because you get criticism of the public or there's resistance, it doesn't mean that the goal isn't sound and it's the right thing to do. So what you need to be is steel yourself that really, many times when you're fighting the good fight, you're going to probably get some of the greatest resistance. But that should just make you more determined to persevere and achieve your goal, or at least some part of that goal, because every step along the way is very, very important.
Thank you so much. We also have another question for you from the audience.
I'm London Howe, a 5th grader at Alton Elementary School. Who was one person that was most influential in your life and work?
Well, that's easy. It started with my mother. She was a great inspiration to me because while she was a product of a different era where women were mainly supposed to be housewives and all that, she was such a smart and capable person. She inspired me on all fronts to always do your best and achieve for high goals, but also she was a great believer and exposed me to great literature, to art, and to all these things that became a key part of my life and an interest. And it's interesting that, it seems like the people that had the most impact on me have all been women, And in fact, Maxine Smith, who is such a dear friend of mine and really a local hero in this city and in the civil rights movement, was also a real inspiration to me. And she was the one that originally got me inspired to get really involved in the civil rights movement. And then, of course, the other person that's had a huge influence on me and has been my partner in all the efforts we've undertaken in this town is my wife, Barbara. So I've had the good fortune of being surrounded by very strong and intelligent women that have always inspired me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hyde.
Our next Freedom Award honoree is the renowned civil rights activist, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr.
Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson has been called the conscience of the nation and the great unifier. He is one of the foremost civil rights, religious, and political figures of our time. Born on October 8, 1941, in Greenville, South Carolina, Reverend Jackson was a standout athlete. After turning down the Chicago White Sox, he enrolled in the University of Illinois on a football scholarship. He later transferred to the North Carolina A&T State University and graduated in 1964. He was awarded the Rockefeller Foundation Scholarship to pursue his theological studies at the University of Chicago's Theological Seminary, but deferred completion one semester shy of his graduation to begin working for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as organizer for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference's Operation Breadbasket. A part of Dr. King's inner circle, Reverend Jackson was at the Lorraine Motel on April 4, 1968, when Dr. King was assassinated. Refusing to be disheartened by his mentor's death, Jackson became one of the most prominent civil and human rights activists. Reverend Jackson's 2 presidential campaigns broke new ground in United States politics. His 1984 campaign registered over 1 million new voters, won 3.5 million votes, and helped the Democrat Party regain control of the Senate in 1986. His 1988 campaign registered over 2 million new voters, won 7 million votes, and helped boost hundreds of elected officials into office. A hallmark of Reverend Jackson's work has been his commitment to youth. His push for excellence, educational programs, was featured on 60 Minutes, and for more than 40 years, he has visited thousands of American high schools, colleges, universities, and correctional facilities, encouraging excellence, inspiring hope, and challenging young people to study diligently and stay drug-free. I'm Dave Bronza. It is a personal and deep honor for me to present the Freedom Award to the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson.
Reverend Jackson, we are honored to have you with us today. You started your activism around our age. How did attending North Carolina A&T influence your participation in the civil rights movement?
First of all, let me declare I'm nervous when you ask me questions. Actually, I grew up in Greenville, South Carolina, not so very far from here. And I came home from college to use the library to do my at Christmas time to do my homework. And could not use the library because of race. I determined that summer I was going to go to the library, and so 7 of us went to college, went to the library, went to jail. So it really was fighting to end legal segregation, the humiliation that African Americans had to go to the back of the bus and pay the same fee. When Dr. King gave a speech in Washington in 1963, from Texas across to Florida to Maryland, we couldn't use a single public toilet. We couldn't rent a room at Holiday Inn with money. We couldn't buy ice cream at Howard Johnson. Black and Latino soldiers had to sit behind Nazis on American military bases. So the theme of my time was to end segregation and the barbarism of it and bring down walls. And so A&T was a school where I was forced to sat in 1960, and I joined them, but I really had begun in 1960.
Thank you so much, Reverend Jackson. We now have a question in the crowd for you.
I'm Jacqueline Mees, a 5th grader at Memphis Scholars Caldwell Guthrie. What is your definition of a civil rights activist?
A civil rights activist is one who accepts the challenges of that time to make a difference at that stage. For example, if you sat on the front of a bus today, that would not be civil rights activism. That battle has been won. That would be normal. If you registered to vote today, that would not be a protest. That's now normal. If you chose to stay at a hotel in Memphis today, that would not be a protest. But if you in fact chose to exercise your right to vote. Dr. King, for example, labeled the fact that when Emmett Till was killed in 1955, August 28th, the jury came back within an hour and said that he was guilty. And one writer said that they would have come back earlier except they stopped to drink a soft drink. There were no blacks on the jury. Only registered voters can serve on juries. So to fight to be on the jury is a Civil Rights Act. There was a case in Chicago last week where a young man had been shot 16 times by the police, 14 times on the ground. And there was a lot of uproar and thousands in the streets, but the people who determined his fate was 12 jurors. Only registered voters have the right to serve on juries. That's who convicted him. And so the right to vote becomes a big deal. It becomes a form of protest. But also, if you follow Dr. King's life, Dr. King at age 15 finished high school. He finished college at 19. He got a seminary degree at 22. His PhD at 26. His point was strong minds break strong chains. You can't be a leader without literacy. Literacy is a key to liberation. So civil rights activists take the opportunity to study seriously. You must do three things. One, don't self-destruct through drugs, alcohol, or violence. B, don't self-degrade. Don't think that you're less than you are. And three, do your best against the odds. Your best is not my best. My best is not your best, but your best is sufficient for you to take our struggle to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Jackson. We now have another question.
Good morning. My name is Cassidy Tompkins. I'm a senior at Whitehaven High School. And my question for you is, what motivated you to run for president, and how did that impact your life?
I think perhaps three things. One, in 1983, we were facing a very oppressive and hostile mayor in the city of Chicago. It was against inclusion for all of its citizens. And so we determined to boycott what was then the Great Chicago Festival. And people like Stevie Wonder helped by not crossing our picket line. And out of that came a voter registration drive for 400,000 people registered. We put up money and we won the campaign. But while during the campaign, Mr. Mundell and Mr. Mundell, and Kennedy decided they would come and break up our victory struggle. So we fought back. We said somebody should run for the presidency. So I thought it would be Andy Young. I asked Andy to run because he was so qualified. And I asked Maynard Jackson to run. He was likewise qualified, but they had their own reasons why they wouldn't do it. So I started raising the issue that somebody should run, even if it were me. It was not my first priority. But the other thing that happened to me after Dr. King was killed, we were in a Great Depression. Some people took the depression out by burning buildings and just otherwise throwing their lives in the fire. Others protested by surrendering, by committing suicide, by giving up. Some few kept on fighting back. And I must take this time to say this. So we left Memphis. We determined that we would not let one bullet kill a movement for change. We would not let it do it. We would not give the killer the gratification that he had killed our spirits, he had killed our leader. So we went to Washington to Poor People's Campaign that had a tent city. And while there, Reverend Turner, we had a meeting with African Americans, Appalachians, Latinos, Native Americans, Jewish allies from New York, and the like. And while there, people said the White House turned its back on us. and so did Congress. And Dr. King was killed April 4th, Robert Kennedy killed June the 6th, and I had been asked to be mayor of Resurrection City. And so, on this particular morning, 2 people had died from hepatitis in our camp. Most men had left the camp. And I looked in their faces, people looking up to me to tell them something, to do something. And with my back against the wall, I had read a book by Dr. Howard Thurman called Jesus and the Disinherited. And it said that when your back is against the wall and you've lost everything, you stand naked against the world, you still matter. Where there's life, there's hope. Where there's hope, there's infinite possibility. Don't surrender your spirit because your body is in pain. And so I asked them to repeat after me, and I want you to say I am. Somebody. On your feet. Say I am. Somebody. I am. Somebody. My mind is a pearl. I can learn anything in the world if my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it. I know I can achieve it. It's not my aptitude. My attitude will determine my altitude, how high I will rise. Stop the violence. Save the children. Stop the violence. Save the children. I rise higher and higher and higher. I will never surrender. I will keep hope alive. I will go from death on the balcony at the Rain Motel, the balcony at the White House. Nothing will stop us. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. I can be president. I can be doctor. I can be business person. No good thing will be withheld from those who love the Lord and called according to his purpose. Say, I am somebody. I am somebody. Let me hear you scream.
Thank you so much.
Many people will not run because they don't believe that they can. I must say, Congressman, one of the turning points in the campaign was when I got the endorsement of Congressman Lou Stokes from Cleveland, who had been a dear friend. And he was hesitant about voting for me because he thought it was impractical, that I couldn't win, no one could ever win. He didn't want to throw his vote away. And so we were standing there in the parking lot on the Labor Day parade, and a 12-year-old young man walked up to him and said, Mr. Stokes, how you doing? He said, this is Reverend Jackson. He said, I know it's Reverend Jackson. He said, well, tell me, can a black person run for president? He had not endorsed me. Water came in his eyes. He said, yes, he can. And of course, from that day to Barack Obama, it's just a matter of time. We can do, must do, will do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Jackson.
We would like to open this question to both of you gentlemen this morning. This year, the Freedom Award theme is reflecting on 1968 and moving forward. How did 1968 impact your commitment to the fights for civil rights and social justice?
Mr. Pitt, you're the man.
Well, that was a critical year for me personally, and of course for our city and our country. In fact, you know, so much my involvement with the civil rights movement, I was talking about Maxine Smith, started in '68 because shortly after Dr. King's assassination here, the local NAAC put up a picket line in front of the neighborhood supermarket, which happened to be one we owned from Lone and Hyde, and they demanded to meet with the CEO. And and of course, the leader was Maxine Smith. And all I knew of Maxine at the time, I was the ripe old age of 26, by the way. I had just taken over the business because my father became ill. And so, with trepidation, I approached this meeting because all I'd heard about Maxine was what the local paper said, which painted her as some radical and, hard to deal with. Well,
she was all of that. Go on.
Yeah, so to my pleasant surprise, when the time for the meeting came and she walked in, here was this charming lady that's super smart, super bright, that came in and sat down and we met, and after a few minutes we worked out all the issues, and we became lifelong friends from that day forward, and we worked together on so many projects in our community. And she was just the epitome of a person that was a great believer in nonviolence and addressing every need in our community. So that started me on a path, and of course it exposed me to a lifelong friend in Maxine Smith. Also, that year had a huge impact on our community. And so we started, talking, and ultimately it led to involvement with the movement. Was before the Civil Rights Museum was just beginning to be thought of and hoped for. We started working towards reworking that tragic site into something positive for our city and our community. And of course, Maxine and Ben Hooks were key partners in that project. And, I'm just so proud of what ultimately came out of, that involvement as well, because I've been involved with the museum from day one, and I think it's done a great job of helping heal wounds, bring the community together, and of course taking a tragic site and turning it into something positive for this city and the country. And of course the Freedom Awards is a great example of wanting to not just educate the youth on what happened in the past, and of course today, over half the population of the United States wasn't even born in '68. So it's a real role to play on the education front. But the great thing about the Freedom Awards is it's a way to recognize the people that are carrying the cause forward for civil rights and individual rights in this country and around the world. So, I think that it just, 68 had such a huge impact on me as far in our city and our country. So yeah, it dramatically changed my life, and it started me on a path that I'm so thankful that I've got on. So,
One reason I support the museum, there's an attempt by the leadership to make this a living memorial, not just a static memorial looking back. You don't honor Dr. King by being stuck in the mud of '68. You must focus on how Dr. King lived and for what he lived and why he was killed. You had to kind of focus on addressing the issue of poverty. 90% of the children in the Memphis school system are on some form of free food. That means that unless they get a meal in school, they cannot study. Poverty. 65% of people who live between Arkansas, Mississippi, and Memphis. Memphis is kind of the capital of the Mississippi Delta. Rich soil, poor people. Poverty. Poverty thwarts the mind and development. Poverty limits people's dreams and their thought processes. And so Dr. King came to Memphis to fight poverty. Most poor people are not on welfare, and they're not black. The white, the female, they're young. But whether white, black, or brown, hunger hurts. Most poor folks work every day, but they have more month than money when they get through working. So if you work and can't afford to send your child to school, you're working yourself into debt. If you work and can't afford health care, you're working yourself into debt. So the harder you work, the deeper the hole gets. And so, in some sense, we must focus on Dr. King's agenda, the issue of poverty. There's no basis for us to celebrate Lorraine and miss the level of poverty in Memphis today with so much wealth in America today. President Trump said if he became president, he would reduce the number of people with medical care and reduce the cost. There are 4 million more people in poverty without health insurance. And shift $26 billion from poor people to rich people. Dr. King would be fighting that. Racial polarization. The next P, poverty polarization. We have survived the part as black and white. The great moral challenge of America is to learn to live together. That's the genius of the Grizzlies being in Memphis. When the Grizzlies play in Memphis or when the Titans play in Tennessee, it's about direction, not complexion. Why do we get along so well on the football field or the basketball court? Why, if you're pulling for Memphis and they're playing LA, you want a white guy from Memphis to stop a black guy from LA named James? Why is that? How can you rise above race? Because whenever the playing field is even, and the rules are public, and the goals are clear, and the referees are fair, and the score is transparent, you can make it. That's Dr. King living. It's astonishing to me that so many poor people in this area, in Tennessee and Mississippi, without health care, who fought against health care. I talked to people from Mississippi and Arkansas, in Tennessee, during President Obama's reign of presidency. Said, I really do want affordable health care. I don't want Obamacare. Obamacare is affordable health care. They wanted the omelet and didn't want the eggs. They had been twisted in the mind. Say, fight poverty, fight racial polarization, learn to live together, and fight for peace, not war. War is too expensive and unwinnable. The money we need to educate, we could have free education for every student in Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas, but we're choosing to make weapons rather than make educated people. And so many dropouts of school, we're having to import youth from other countries to keep up with our technology. Say somehow, some way, children in America must be connected to Silicon Valley. We play basketball well. We work at it. We believe we can do it. We can read and write and think and compute if we work at it. Nothing is too hard for us to do if it's a priority. To me, that's the living Dr. King.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. It was an honor spending some time with you this morning.
Our final honoree, Vice President Joe Biden, could not be with us this morning. Let's hear his story.
Joe Biden has been many things to many people. Councilman, senator, vice president. For me, he has always been my beloved father. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania, the first of 4 siblings. When Scranton fell on hard times, the Biden family moved from Pennsylvania to Claymont, Delaware. He graduated from the University of Delaware and then went on to Syracuse Law School. In his final months of law school, one of his only political heroes, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., was gunned down. And not long after, his other political hero, Robert F. Kennedy, met the same fate. Just as the civil rights movement awakened in him a need to engage in public life as a high schooler, participating in marches at the segregated movie theater downtown, the loss of these giants stirred in him a higher calling. He quit his job at a prestigious law firm and joined the Public Defender's Office. Not long after, he won a seat on the Newcastle County Council in an upset. Then, at age 29, he was elected to the United States Senate, the 6th youngest senator in U.S. history. As a senator from Delaware for 36 years, Joe Biden established himself as a leader in facing some of our nation's most important domestic and international challenges. As chairman or ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Committee for 17 years, then Senator Biden was widely recognized for his work on criminal justice issues, including the landmark Violence Against Women Act in 1994. And on a frigid January day in 2009, he was sworn in as the 27th Vice President of the United States, serving alongside our 44th President, Barack Obama. The man you are honoring tonight with this prestigious, historic, and remarkable award is my father. He is our hero. Congratulations, Dad. You are the wind beneath our wings. You so deserve this honor, and I love you.
Hello. Do let me say that Vice President Joe Biden will be here tonight, of course, but I feel a need to say he is a man of integrity. He's smart. He sees the world through a door and not through a keyhole. He makes room for all of us in his vision. When President Barack Obama won the nomination, there were still lingering doubts, could he attract white voters? Joe Biden's being a part of that ticket was a part of Barack winning. So there is a Barack Biden ticket that captured the nation. Let's give Joe Biden another hand, shall we?
Mr. Biden sent a message for us this morning.
Folks, this is Joe Biden. I'm here to tell you how badly we need you. We need you to get engaged in politics, and eventually run for office. You know, I know a lot of you are depressed about the state of affairs right now, and your instinct is just to walk away, but don't. When I was a senior graduating in 1968 from Syracuse, my only two heroes were murdered in my last semester, Dr. King and then Robert Kennedy, the day I walked across that stage. My city, after Dr. King was murdered, Wilmington, Delaware, a significant portion was burned to the ground. The National Guard occupied my city for 10 months, the only city in America since the Civil War occupied by the National Guard. I came home and had a great job with a fancy law firm, but I quit and became a public defender. And I used to go down to the train station where they would hold people for me to interview them. The police would arrest them, and the National Guard would arrest them, and they'd hold them. And I'd go down and interview them. And you know, I thought things were never going to get better between African Americans in my city, which is a majority black city, and the white population. But you know what? 40 years later to the day almost, on January the 17th, I was standing on that platform with my two sons and my daughter. My son was the Attorney General. He's passed away since then. My other son was the brightest guy I know, who ran the World Food Program USA, and my daughter runs a private nonprofit. And when I was standing there waiting for a black man to take a 28-mile ride from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to pick me up, and all of a sudden it hit me. Things had changed. Here I was overlooking the very part of the city that burned to the ground. And here I'm waiting for a black man to pick me up and both of us to ride on the 17th down to Washington, D.C. to be sworn in as President and Vice President of the United States of America. Don't tell me things can't change. And don't tell me you have a right to not be engaged. You must be engaged. You realize if 18 to 25-year-olds vote in the same proportion that other people voted last time around, 77,000 votes would have been wiped out. You can make up over 5 million votes, 5 million new votes. You can determine the outcome of the election. So if you care as much as I do, and I know you do, about civil rights and civil liberties, if you care as much about fairness and decency, if you care about reestablishing who we are, then vote. Vote, 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 and get involved. Get involved in politics. To paraphrase Plato, he said, the penalty good people pay for not being involved in politics is being governed by people worse than themselves. It's up to you. We need you badly.
Well, that wraps up Teen Talk. Back to you, Jerica.
Well, let's once again thank our honorees, J.R. Pitt Hyde, Reverend Jesse Jackson, and the Honorable Joe Biden, as well as our sponsors who make it all possible to bring such extraordinary people here to Memphis: International Paper, FedEx, the Hyatt Family Foundation, Ford Motor Company, and First Tennessee. We also thank First Tennessee Foundation for sponsoring the honoree bio videos.
Let's also thank our Teen Talk moderators, Jerry Biddle and Chris Wilson. We'll now have another selection from Southwind High School Choir.
On behalf of Southwind High School and the Southwind High School Concert Singers, we want to thank you for this opportunity. Our last selection will be Mon Kea.
Well, that concludes the 2018 Freedom Awards Student Forum. I would like to give a special shout out to my classmates and teammates from Briarcrest. And also Dr. Freeman and the National Civil Rights Museum. I really appreciate this amazing opportunity, so thank you. And also for all of you watching online, thanks for joining us today.
And it has been a true blessing to be a part of this forum. And I also want to thank my co-host, Cleveland, for doing an amazing job. He has a bright future. We've had a great time with each of you today. I want you to remain in your seats until your school has been dismissed and follow the instructions of your volunteers. We hope to see you next year, and make sure you visit the National Civil Rights Museum.
So students, please stay seated. Students, please stay seated. As your buses are getting ready, we will dismiss you as they are ready. Benjamin L. Hooks. Where you at, Benjamin L. Hooks? Make some noise, Benjamin L. Hooks. There we go. Yeah, let's get a volunteer to come down and get Benjamin L. Hooks. Make some noise for my volunteers so they can recognize you, Benjamin L. Hooks. Your bus is ready. We got a volunteer for Benjamin L. Hooks. Right here to the left. Right here to the left. All right. Bus number 1. MLK Prep, make some noise. MLK Prep High School, make some noise. Let's get a volunteer for MLK Prep High. Their bus is ready. Cornerstone Prep, make some noise for me. Cornerstone Prep, where you at? Cornerstone Prep. Oh, let's get a volunteer for Cornerstone Prep, right here on the left. Yeah. Hillcrest High School, make some noise. Where you at, Hillcrest? We got a Hillcrest right here. Let's get a volunteer right here on the right-hand side of this aisle. Hillcrest High, your bus is ready. Oberlin High School, make some noise. Let's get a volunteer for Oberlin High School. Oberlin High School. There we go. Georgian Hills Middle School, make some noise. We got Georgian Hills Middle School right here. Let's get a volunteer. Your bus is ready, Georgian Hills. Grandview Heights Middle School, where you at, Grandview Heights? Let's get a volunteer also for Grandview Heights. They're on the bus together. Their bus is ready. Georgian Hills and Grandview Heights. All the way up to the right. No, the Southwind Choir. St. Michael Parish, where you at to make some noise? St. Michael, we got St. Michael Parish right here. Let's get a volunteer. We got a volunteer right here now. St. Michael's, your bus is ready. Your bus is ready. Treadwell Middle School. Make some noise, Treadwell. We got Treadwell right here. Look at this. Look at that sign. I like that sign, Treadwell. That sign looks great. Let's get a volunteer right down the middle. Treadwell, we got a volunteer right here raising their hand. Your bus is ready. This Treadwell right here. It's Treadwell right here. You got him all right. Mars, where you at, Mars Middle? Mars Middle School, where you at, Mars? We got Mars Middle School right here. The bus is ready. Granville T. Woods, where you at, Granville? Make some noise. We got Granville. Show me that sign, Granville. Let me see that sign. There we go. Let me get a volunteer down the middle to get Granville T. Woods. Their bus is ready. Volunteer, raise your hand who's getting Granville. If you're getting Granville, there we go, volunteer right there. Oh, got you, Greta. Whitehaven High School, make some noise. Let's get a volunteer for Whitehaven High School. Show me that school spirit again, Whitehaven. They're right here. Their bus is ready. Volunteer right here, Miss Sonia, she's got you. Follow Miss Sonia out, your bus is ready. Douglas High School, make some noise. We got Douglas right over here to the left. Can I get a volunteer? Raise your hand, volunteer. We got a volunteer right here. Douglas High School, your bus is ready. Craigmont High School, make some noise. Let me get a volunteer right here for Craigmont. Craigmont, your bus is ready. Craigmont Middle School, where you at, Craigmont Middle? Make some noise. Let me get another volunteer for Craigmont Middle. Both Craigmont High, Craigmont Middle, your buses are ready. Let's roll. Hey, Maceo Walker, make some noise. Hey, Maceo, show me that school spirit. We got a volunteer right here to your left. Hey, Maceo, your bus is ready. Fairleigh High School, where you at, Fairleigh? Make some noise. Stand up for me, Fairleigh. Fairleigh High School. Let's get a volunteer to get Fairleigh. A volunteer, raise your hand, you're gonna get Fairleigh. Which way is Fairleigh going out? To the left or to the right? To the left, Fairleigh, to the left. Westwood High, where you at, Westwood? Make some noise. Westwood, you got a volunteer right here. Right here to the left, She got him, Karen. All students, unless I call you, your bus is not ready. Please stay seated. Students, please stay seated until I call out your school. Maxine Smith STEAM Academy, make some noise. We got Maxine Smith right here. We got a volunteer right here to your right. Maxine, your bus is ready. Who is that? White Station High School, make some noise. White Station High School. We got White Station over here to the left. Let me get a volunteer. We got a volunteer right here in this middle aisle. White Station to your right. She's gonna take you out to your bus. Middle College, make some noise. Middle College, show me some school spirit. We got Middle College right here in the middle. Volunteer, raise your hand if you're gonna take Middle College. We got a volunteer right here in the middle. Middle College, your bus is ready.